Dream, search, drive. Cars.co.za.
Fafty knows that no matter what you've done for your country, and the ladies, you can still get caught with your pants down. Don't faff around, just claim via WhatsApp and get paid out quick fast. Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans.
Well, here we go. It is now Gazoo Racing South Africa Yaris Cup.
Round 2, we arrive at Zwartkops Raceway, the home of Thomas Faulkner.
Hi, my name is Thomas Faulkner and I work for Times Live Motoring.
It is Lerato Matabese, Bernard Pather, Mark Jones, Ashley Oldfield, the man who was the dominant factor, of course, down in Cape Town, Sean Nurse, Thomas Faulkner, and Jeanette Koch-Kritzinger, all about to go to action for the second time here in this incredible little category of racing.
But we're without Dion Gqeberha this time. Sean has joined the fray of motoring journalists come racing drivers.
All exactly the same cars, same tyres, same engines.
My name is Sean Nurse and I represent SN Automotive.
And it makes for a very, very tight little race here between our top media presenters.
Went out, first practice, something doesn't feel quite right with the gearbox. I'm kind of missing fourth gear, but it's sometimes there, sometimes not. It depends kind of like how much load you put on the steering wheel. But I have a lap in qualifying where I find fourth quite effectively and puts me about a tenth and a half behind Tom. So I'm fairly happy with that, but knowing in the race that I'm not going to have that fourth gear.
Zwartkops started off really well. I was quick at practice and I got a really good pole time and I was amped. I was like, this is going to be like a good day, home track. And it just all went wrong from the first race,
Looking forward to a great little fight here between these cars as they get going.
Interestingly, we have had a rolling start for Killarney, but they decide to do a standing start at Zwartkops, but they don't exactly tell everyone that it's going to be a standing start. So the officials think it's a standing start, we think it's a rolling start, and we kind of go off like it's a parade lap or like a warm-up lap kind of thing. And the two guys behind us, they figured the lights above are what's keen for go, and Mark and Sean just jumped Tom and I on the front row.
In the championship, in the Lotus Challenge on numerous occasions. Oh, and a couple of guys getting bogged down on the line there. Great start coming out of Jonesy.
Before we've kind of figured out what's happening, they're 1 and 2, Tom's 3, I'm 4.
Oldfield and Faulkner getting caught out by the lights, but no worries at all there. Lerato Matabese also getting a fantastic start, and he tries to come through as quickly as possible.
I lost my pole advantage, which was frustrating.
Mark Jones has got the whole shot, and the Citizen man goes into turn 1 with the lead. Thomas Faulkner's right on his tail, looking to try and make him pay, but there was definitely an issue there for both of the front runners on that front row of the grid.
And I just don't have the pace going from 3 to 5 in the gearbox to kind of get anywhere close enough. But thankfully, Tom and Mark have they have an altercation which kind of lasts the whole season long.
Right, I'm Mark Jones from the Citizen Motoring, long-serving motoring journalist.
And it pushes Mark a little bit wide on turn 2 and he has to do a bit of correction, and that allows me just enough time to pop up the inside at the hairpin and then drive out.
Cars.co.za is in the house now, and the 32 car of Ashley Oldfield is now making it a 4-way battle for the front. Ashley Oldfield just squeezes through and gets ahead of Jones.
I kind of get the hang of working through the gears.
So we got one little maneuver that happened there coming into the penultimate lap. Is that going to be enough though for Oldfield to try and close onto the front end?
And changing my entire lap driving, going from 3 to 5, 5 to 3, and figuring out where the best point is to change.
Now let's see whether Ashley Oldfield can find a way through there on Faulkner and Sean Nurse up the road. Might not be enough time for him.
Actually end up with the fastest lap. So there is some latent speed in me still with the problem.
Rubbing and getting onto the curbs there a little bit. You can see that Oldfield is making Thomas Faulkner have to work for his second place. Nurse watching the mirrors as they come out of turn 7 down towards the final corner for the last time. Is there going to be a dive here from Oldfield? He goes on the inside, here's a look. No, not quite close enough. He'll have to settle for third. Here they come to the line. It's going to be Sean Nurse for the first victory at Zwartkops.
Race 2, we're sat in the dummy grid, which is it's like a grid before you go onto the track. And I'm just there kind of thinking, all right, I'm starting third, how can I get myself to the front? And I kind of think, all right, I have to be aggressive through turn 1, and I have to be aggressive into turn 2, and then from there we'll figure the rest out.
So here we go for race 2 of the Gazoo Racing Cup, driven by Netstar.
So I have this plan, which we now have a rolling start for race 2, and I get such a good reaction time off the lights.
Lights are out this time and we're racing though. Down towards turn 1, it is on the inside Falconer who's got the whole shot by the looks of things.
I push it off the lights and I can see we've kind of sandwiched Sean in the middle here, who won race 1, and you've got Tom on the left. And we're kind of sandwiching, it's an off-camber downhill left into turn 1 at Zwartkops, and I'm not lifting, and I can see Tom is starting to drift a little bit into Sean, and now there's a squeeze point here where someone has to give. I'm just in the mindset that it's not going to be me. So eventually we get to that squeeze point and Sean's the one to pull out in the middle, and I come right around the outside beautifully, and I'm lined up right behind Tom, and I'm kind of like, there's a little bit of a gap here down the inside, and it just opens up enough of a gap for me to go down the inside, and I'd stand on the brakes as hard as I can. And you can see from the footage here, the door handle goes from behind him around the door arch and then back into the door arch without actually touching. So it was a clean without touching maneuver, but it was forceful. And then thankfully Mark has kind of got involved here, and he starts to take Tom's attention away from me, and I'm able to kind of scoot up the road a little bit, and Tom and Mark get involved in an altercation again at the top of the table, and there some body paint and panels were exchanged.
I was racing with Mark, and serious kamikaze move, you know. They don't call him the Boksburg bomber for nothing.
I kind of saw him come out of 4 up to 5, and I thought he would, which he did in the beginning, go a little bit defensive and block the line on the right up to 5.
I didn't have a great corner 4. Mark had a little bit more legs, and I could see him like sizing up the gap. And I started to squeeze him a bit, and I thought he wasn't going to go for the gap.
And then I decided, well, I'm going to take a gap, and then we both kind of found ourselves at the same piece of top.
Oh, look at that late braking from the Citizen man. Faulkner saw him coming, opened up the door, didn't want to rub plastics too much or damage the cars, so maybe a gentlemanly move there from Thomas Faulkner to allow Mark Jones some room to play.
Maybe he just went for that gap, you know, charging in, and we just managed to make a little bit of contact.
But it was not intentional, it was just a little nudge and carried on.
So yeah, I think we got away with minimal damage, but it's not nice to hurt a race car, you know, especially in round 2.
But it's allowed Jones to squeeze up into second place.
When he was behind me, I was expecting sort of payback, a little bit of a mad lunge, and he didn't do that.
So Jonesy and Faulkner fighting for second. They're letting Oldfield get away, unfortunately, for the two of them. So let's see if Thomas Faulkner can do anything down into turn 8 and maybe spoil the day there for Mark Jones. Ashley Oldfield with a third victory in this category, having taken 2 down in Cape Town at the beginning of the season, will hang on to the lead of this unofficial championship. And it looks like Faulkner's going to settle for third place.
Hello, let me give you a lay of the land as to where we are with the GR Yaris Cup. We're now at round 3, we're at Aldo Scribante in Gqeberha. The name we're still getting used to pronouncing. So far things have gone really well for us, apart from a slightly damaged gearbox in round 2 at Zwartkops, but the team have managed to fix it, and they've asked us to be slightly nicer with the shifts. The gearbox fault may have been because of me. I may have got a little overexcited and pulled the lever a little hard, which has kind of moved the gear linkage out of position. But anyway, it's fixed now, and done one session here at Aldo in sort of like dry, wet, semi conditions, and it was the most fun I've had in a long time. Cars oversteering all over the place, wet, dry, great. But things are looking good. Excited for this weekend. Cars running like a dream. I'm keen to go. Yeah, we'll see you can keep up this weekend. Race 3, and I'm immediately on the pace. I'm stoked with how quick I am out the blocks. I just kind of took it all in, enjoyed the day, didn't really put a foot wrong. Tom was getting better and better throughout the race and the practice and the qualifying sessions, but I always felt like I had a little bit in reserve that I could get away and if I needed to, or if he came close. But the real talking points for PE was it was the first of the winter races, so PE gets a ton of dew in the mornings. And you can see here, we've got one of our Toyota execs who's joined us for this in the 7th GR Yaris. He kind of comes out of turn 1 and then there's all of this dewy grass on the outside of the track, and he just puts 2 wheels onto that grass, and that dew just extends your braking point. Doesn't matter whether you've got ABS, it's not going to help you. You just kind of skate, and that's all that happens is you skate across this grass and then bunk, you hit the barrier.
Fortunately, I managed to turn it because I didn't want to go in straight head on.
Yo, that was a big one, hey? Yeah, it's a reminder that things can go wrong. It's motorsport. You're pushing the limits. You're going as hard as you can, and sometimes, you know, shit happens.
But then I get back to the pit lane and I can see there's a rather big commotion by our pit box, and I can see someone's pulled up a van and is beginning to pull the remains of a Yaris straight. So they've hooked up like a tow rope to the inside of the wheel arch and they are just kind of tugging panels straight. But credit to the guys at Fast Dev who did the work. They managed to pull the car straight, get it ready. The window was broken, so they kind of filled that with like a piece of Perspex, I think, and I guess he was a little bit nervous about crashing the car again.
Out of turn 1,
Okay.
I stepped on the curb, ran wide.
I'm just glad to see that he's okay. You know, metal can be fixed, bones can't, so yeah.
And I was worried you're going to roll because you
No, it bounced big time.
But you did a good job finishing both races, and PE was uneventful aside from that one moment, really. And kind of that's sometimes how it goes in races. You get easy ones, you get really difficult ones, and you get ones where it goes all wrong for you. And it was kind of like a reminder to all of us that, yeah, we're racing drivers for this year. We're also motoring journalists, but also how quickly things can go wrong. I mean, airbags went off in that as well. Motor racing is dangerous. You sign quite a big disclaimer before you get into a motor car or do a track day even. So it's always a reminder that it's not like a game of badminton or table tennis. Sometimes your life is a little bit under threat.
Onto the brakes into turn 5, runs wide. Oh, and that's the first incident we've seen in Gazoo Racing Cup.
Ladies and gentlemen, a momentous occasion in the history of Cars.co.za. We are rolling out a completely new smartphone app. You'll find it in the Android App Store, the Apple App Store, and the Huawei App Gallery. So next time your app updates, you should see a completely new interface. We'd love to know what you think about it, so let us know how the app has been in the comments below.
No matter how big or small your car is, you can still save $420 per month. Budget, the official insurer of good South Africans.
Cars.co.za.